Good day, gentlemen. Let's discuss how you can have a better relationship than 99% of men in the next 6 to 12 months. If you don't know who I am, my name is Benny, and for the last 9 years, I've been obsessed with learning everything there is about relationships in every single way. And that led me to now be in a 7-year relationship with my beautiful girlfriend. And that relationship hasn't just lasted for 7 years, but it's very fun, fulfilling, peaceful, passionate. But the harsh reality is, and I need to be honest with you here, our relationship was struggling a lot 2, 3, 4 years in. And if I hadn't learned all of what I'm about to tell you, this relationship would have most likely ended painfully years ago. So if you don't want that to happen to you, then pay close attention here. I won't waste your time, so here are the 4 most important lessons, no bullshit lessons, that actually helped me and my woman get to where we wanted to go. Now, lesson 1 is that the quickest and easiest way to have a better relationship than 99% of men is to turn your relationship from a downward spiral to an upward spiral. Sounds complex, sounds difficult, I know, but I promise you it's not once you understand what to do. And this has not just worked for me, but also for all the men who have worked with me in my mentorship. Whether you admit this to yourself or not, your relationship is in a downward spiral right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. And so I say that so casually, but really this is a massive problem. This is why most relationships end painfully, because the downward spiral gets so bad that you don't want to stick with this anymore, or she doesn't want to stick with this anymore. And so here's the thing. The reason I say it's so easy to turn a downward spiral into an upward spiral is because in a spiral, there's multiple factors that affect each other. In a relationship, there's 2, right? You and her. And so you affect each other, in this case, negatively. One of you, let's say she, just for the example, right? She is nagging, she's irritable, she's sexually disinterested. What does that do to you? It makes you want to spend less time with her. It makes you not want to be as loving to her. And so what does that lead to again? She becomes more nagging, she becomes more irritable, she becomes less sexually interested. And that again affects you negatively. That's where you're at right now. It doesn't matter who started this spiral. What matters is that we turn it into an upward spiral. And so the thing is this, you can't change your woman, right? You might have made this experience. You can't change people. You can't force someone to change, but you can affect people. And this is exactly where that spiral comes in. Because right now, this is the thing in a spiral, whether there's 2 factors or 2,000, it doesn't matter. If you change one, all of the other ones change as well. So if you act differently, you will affect your woman. If you act positively, she will become more positive over time. This might sound too easy, I know that, but you've actually experienced this in other areas of your life. Maybe you've started to work out consistently, and suddenly your sleep improves. You are more focused at work, you get more done. Your self-image improves, your confidence improves, all from exercising? That's crazy, right? But that's exactly this. One factor was changed and it affected all the other factors positively. So in this example, exercising is what I like to call a cornerstone action. This is an action that affects everything else as well, right? And we can do this in your relationship as well. And I've done this, and many other people have done this. And here's the thing. You're not some special snowflake, man. Sorry to break it to you, but you're not special. If this worked for me and it worked for all my clients and it worked for all my friends, it will work for you as well. So what we'll do for lesson 2, 3, and 4 is I'll give you the 3 most powerful cornerstone actions that I found with myself that have really made a difference for my relationship and have turned it around in less than 12 months. Cornerstone action number 1 is one of those things that changed everything for me when I understood it. A flower doesn't bloom every day, but that does not mean you don't water it every day. And arguably, it's even more important to water the flower on days when it's not blooming. And of course, the flower here is your woman. A lot of men, the moment their woman, their flower isn't blooming, stop watering it. What do you think is going to happen? Exactly. The flower will die. And with it, your relationship will die. Let's say, as an example, she is upset. She's not very loving. She is maybe even saying hurtful things to you. What will most men do in this situation? They will react on the exact same level. They will become upset as well. They will deny her their love, and they will maybe even say hurtful things back. And this is precisely what keeps them in that downward spiral. They will deny her the water that she so desperately is really asking for in those moments. She's not upset because she wants to hurt you. She's upset because she doesn't feel loved. The tricky part is that a lot of women will actually treat their men better when their men get angry with them. But here's the thing, she's not doing that out of love. She's not doing that to help you. She's doing that out of fear, out of guilt. She's doing it because she feels like she might lose you if she doesn't treat you better. And in certain ways, that is true and should be true. Of course, you shouldn't stay with someone who doesn't treat you well, right? But if she's doing that out of fear, out of guilt, not out of actually wanting to be better for you, wanting to treat you better, but doing it because she's afraid that if she doesn't, she will lose you, that will build resentment. So how long can she keep up that facade? How long does it take until that resentment comes out of her? How long does it take until she once again is upset, not very loving, and says hurtful things, just even more intensely because she's further down in that spiral now? Doesn't take very long, does it? So do you want her to treat you lovingly because she wants to, or because she feels she has to? Because make no mistake, you will feel the difference no matter how good she might be at hiding it. And she, of course, will feel fucking horrible because she feels like she has no choice. She feels like she has to do this if she doesn't want to lose you. And this cage is emotional torture for humans. And when we go instead and we give someone permission to be wrong without the promise of punishment, we build that reputation with them, something magical happens. I remember one of my first clients, who is actually now married with his woman, and he was in this weird situation where he was so driven at that time. He was leveling up in his job, he wanted to buy a house, he wanted to do all this stuff, right? He was getting into really good shape as well. But his woman really wasn't doing well during that time. Her job was draining all of her energy out of her, especially emotional energy, because she was working, let's say, a tricky job. I don't want to go too much into detail here, but she was working a job that would take a toll on all of us. And she would not be very loving to him. She would not really have that capacity to not be irritable. She would often get upset at very small things, and he wouldn't really understand why that is and how he can help her. He always told me that she was once this excited, giggly, fun, passionate woman with so much zest for life. And he wanted that back, of course. And he wanted her to feel that again, of course, because he was a very kind human. And what did he do? He combined watering her flower with the next cornerstone action. And the progress they made was just incredible. I mean, there's a reason why they got married shortly afterwards. Cornerstone action number 2 is learning to say a loving no. Now this is easy, but in the past this was very difficult for me because I grew up as a chronic people pleaser. And still, this was one of the most rewarding things that I could have ever done in my relationship. And the same is true for that client of mine that I just mentioned. Now you might be thinking, wait, Benny, you just told me that I should always water her flower and be kind to her and all this stuff. And now you're telling me I should say no to her? Yes, exactly. And here's the thing, a no doesn't have to be this rude thing. It can be a very loving thing, and it can actually water her flower a lot. And we'll go into that in a second, how to actually do that. But first, you need to understand that most of the relationship advice that you've received so far throughout your whole life is rooted in black and white thinking. It's this or that. People thinking, oh, this, what certain people do, this thing is bad, so I should do the exact opposite. For example, a lot of men in my generation and the next generation and the generation before that, we all saw that certain men treated their woman like a tyrant. They were simply a tyrant to their children, maybe even to us, to our mothers, whatever. And we don't want to end up there. We think that that's crazy. We don't want to do that. So we unconsciously do the exact opposite. But, and I love this quote, the opposite of crazy is still crazy. This is why in the masculine archetypes, for example, let's take the king as an example, the king archetype, right? There's 4, king, warrior, magician, lover. Let's take the king as an example. The king has two shadow sides. One of them is, no surprise, the tyrant. The other one is the weakling. Weakling. That's the opposite of the tyrant. And here's the thing, the king is not portrayed in the middle of these two, but in the elevated middle of these two. Meaning he combines the good sides from both of them and through that becomes better. And that's what we need to do as well. And one of the good aspects of the tyrant, believe it or not, right? The tyrant has good sides, I promise, is having boundaries that protect your peace and that make you able to actually be there for other people and tap into being kind, tap into being loving, tap into helping people. Because if you don't have boundaries, you grow into this resentful and negative people pleaser that I was when I was younger, right? This weakling archetype where nothing is working for you in life. You don't know how to get what you want out of life. And because of that, you hate yourself and you hate other people and you hate the world at large. And that doesn't help anyone, because that person who hates himself, who hates other people, who hates the world, he won't be kind to other people. Just like the tyrant won't be kind to other people. The biggest reason to learn to say no, to learn to set boundaries with your woman, is so that you can take care of yourself. Because if you do that, you can then, from love, take care of other people, take care of her. And that's the one thing that we're here to do as humans. Be of service to other people. And what makes us driven men feel great about ourselves is that sense of feeling needed. What makes us feel great about ourselves is seeing that our actions have a positive impact on the people around us that we love. But what makes us feel like shit is seeing that us helping other people is actually sacrificing our own goals, is actually detracting from us reaching our own goals, is taking away the progress that we could make in our own life. That's what we need to avoid, because the moment we do that, the moment we let that happen, is the moment we build resentment within ourselves that will eventually spill out and hurt the people around us. And beyond that, it destroys trust. Let's go deeper on that point. It destroys trust, because if you say yes to your woman, to any request that she made, let's say she wants to go on a walk with you for an hour. Cool. You say yes, even though really you want to work. If she can feel that you didn't really mean your yes, and trust me, she can feel that. After 5 minutes of you being on that walk, you drift off mentally, emotionally, you think about your work, whatever. If she can feel that, your reputation with her just took a hit, because she can see that you're not being honest. Nobody can trust someone who says yes when really they want to say no, because that's just, that person isn't living in integrity. And beyond that, if you always say yes, how would your woman know if you mean yes or if you mean no? She can't. So eventually she will stop trusting your genuine yes, because you said yes ingenuinely so many times. And even further than that, your reputation with yourself takes a massive hit. Your self-trust takes a massive hit when you don't say what you mean and mean what you say. And that's why you're not confident about yourself. That's why you feel like shit. That's why you're not comfortable in your own skin. Because what is there to trust in as a man if it's not your own word? There's a reason we say be a man of your word. Now, lesson number 4. This is by far the most important lesson in this whole video. This is by far the most important cornerstone action that actually helped me turn my relationship around. Because I always keep the most important lesson to the end of these videos. So only guys like you who actually pay attention here, who are actually serious about building the relationship they truly want, only guys like you get these lessons, because I find it very admirable that you spend your time here learning about this stuff. And once you understand this lesson fully, the path towards a relationship that's better than 99% of relationships out there will become clear to you, and quickly. So here we go. Nobody is needy. Not you, not her, not anyone else. And they're like, come on, Benny, like, what the fuck? Stop messing with me, brother. I am dead serious. Nobody is inherently needy. The only reason people act needy is because they have unfulfilled needs and they're desperately trying to have them met. These unfulfilled needs, that is what leads people to cling onto their partner so super close, or to run away in the hopes of their partner running after them, because that would of course reassure them big time. But here's the thing. This is only one side of the coin. What society calls this needy person, right? This person who is so clinging, so desperate, so dependent on their partner. That's just one side of the coin. The person who acts so super self-sufficient, super confident, distant. More words don't really come to mind here. What's another word? Let me think. My English is sometimes a bit slow. There's one word I'm looking for. Independent. This super independent person. That person has the exact same fears, the exact same insecurities, the exact same problems as this person who is so desperate, so clingy, so needy as society says. Both of these people are needy. And I'll tell you why. The person who is so independent, they just have a different way of dealing with those same exact fears. They have the same fears, the same goals, everything. In attachment science terms, we would say the anxious person and the avoidant person have the exact same fears, the exact same goals. They just have different ways, different paths of dealing with this. Their past experiences were negative for the anxious person and for the avoidant person, but they made different experiences that sent them on different paths towards solving and healing those inner wounds. While an anxious person needs seemingly endless amounts of reassurance, an avoidant person needs seemingly endless amounts of distance and alone time. And these needs don't really seem healthy, right? They don't really seem justified. Here's the thing. The only reason why people act unhealthy, unloving in relationships is because they have unmet needs. And yes, the logical conclusion of this is true. If these needs were met over a prolonged period of time, this person would be able to act loving, would be able to act healthy in a relationship, because they would have learned to attach securely to people, because these attachment wounds, as I like to call them, they're not attachment styles, they're attachment wounds, were healed through having their needs met. And now this person is able to attach security to people and to act healthy and act loving in a relationship, to act steady in a relationship. And if you don't tackle this, either you or your woman or both of you will be stuck in this downward spiral of constantly trying to get your needs met but never having them met, and through that pushing the other person away because you're not able to actually act lovingly, and you kind of hate yourself for it. At least that's how I felt when I was younger, because I was extremely anxious when I was younger. The thing is, there were no red flags in my relationship, but I was constantly afraid of my girlfriend breaking up with me or even cheating on me because I made some small mistake. And there were times, I'm not kidding when I say this, there were times where I was lying in the same bed as her. And I was thinking that if I fall asleep, she would sneak out the house and cheat on me with someone, while I was literally sleeping in the same bed as her. And those fears would eat me alive. I say that so casually now because I've kind of, healed that stuff, right? Not kind of, I have healed that stuff. But fuck, man. I was simply betrayed by friends. I had a, let's say, tricky childhood. Let's put it like that. I'm sure there's people with much worse childhoods, by the way. I'm not saying any of this to ask for sympathy or whatever else. I'm saying this so that you, who has maybe gone through the same stuff, feels understood and feels like you can actually change and you can actually improve and you can actually feel better, because you absolutely can. Because man, this took a toll on my life. I wasn't able to fall asleep. I wasn't able to focus on my work. I wasn't able to trust people. Because I would think that whatever happened in my life so far, whatever happened in my past would repeat again in my future with other people, right? What my friends did to me, what my family did to me would happen again with my girlfriend. And yet it didn't. And dude, sometimes I'm not fucking kidding. I would lie, like I said, in the same bed as my girl. And I would wake up multiple times during the night and I would not be able to fall asleep because I literally thought that if I fall asleep, she would sneak out the house and cheat on me. And I've been able to heal that. If I'm able to heal that, you're able to heal whatever you're going through. And you're able to actually be healthy in a relationship. And you're actually able to help your partner be healthy in a relationship if this is what they're going through. Because what I finally did was I built up the courage in combination with the fear and the anxiety getting so bad that I just had to build up the courage. There wasn't really any other way. I built up the courage to talk about this stuff with her, to talk about these fears, to open up to her about this. And we tackled this together. Until this day, I'm fucking grateful for her for helping me through this. Because of course she was very confused at first, because while she of course had past bad experiences as well, it probably wasn't to this extent. And she was super supportive. And the crazy part is that now, years later, I don't have these thoughts anymore. I don't have these fears anymore. Even though arguably sometimes I'm in situations where I would definitely have had them in the past. Like in the past, there was a bit of long distance in our relationship. Over the last 1.5 years, there was like 50% of it was long distance. Because my girl, she had to go to Germany every once in a while, and I was living in different countries. And so we wouldn't see each other that much. And long distance was the one thing in the past where this fear just ate me alive, because I couldn't just drive over to her house and see her and see that everything is good. Like, she could be cheating on me with some random guy and I wouldn't even know it, right? Yeah, man, the crazy part, like, this is genuinely crazy, because there's such a difference when I look back at how I felt a couple of years ago. And the thing is this, man. She, as my partner, only had to put in effort for a couple months. That was it. And it wasn't much effort. It was small things. And I see the exact same thing with all of my clients. Once they help their partner, or their partner helps them, or they both help each other, this goes so fucking quickly. And now, not only do I not have these thoughts anymore, and through that, I'm able to show up in a much more loving, much more healthy way for her, but she also doesn't have to put in this effort anymore. Because through my own inner work and through her support, I've healed these parts of me. And through that, I've also helped her heal parts of herself that in many ways the relationship was keeping her stuck in, because I wasn't able to show up in the healthiest way for her. Upward spiral. We supported each other. We helped each other through this, and we do this till this day. Because there's always going to be struggles, man. We're trying to figure out where we want to live in the future. And we haven't found the place yet. We haven't found where we want to spend our life together yet. Because we both have the ability to work online. So it's like, well, might as well maybe get out of Germany, maybe not. We'll see. But we have to figure this out. And there's a big part, man. I'll just be honest about this. This was a massive thing over the last 6 to 8 months. Especially where we were both afraid that maybe we just want different things out of life. Maybe we're just developing into different directions. And we figured out more and more through helping us, through talking about this, through supporting each other and doing our own inner work in the process, that first of all, there's no point in thinking about this before we know it. Like, let's cross that bridge once we get there. Let the future figure out the future, right? As one of my friends, Ben, also always likes to say. Now it's starting to rain again. Good thing I'm almost done with this video. We're working through this. And we're supporting each other through this. Instead of shouting at each other and being annoyed at each other for maybe not wanting the same thing as we want, like, instead of me getting annoyed at her for not wanting the same thing because it makes me feel insecure, right? That's what happened in the past, or what would have happened in this situation in the past. Now I feel secure enough in myself to be secure for her. And brother, one final thing. Whether your situation or your woman's situation is as drastic as mine was in the past, with these fears, these insecurities, whether it's as drastic as this or not, it doesn't matter. you still have to tackle this, because it is keeping you stuck in this downward spiral. It is keeping you stuck in hurting each other more and more, in actually building these attachment wounds, these internal wounds, instead of healing them. And if you don't tackle this, it will continue to get worse and worse, and it will continue to destroy your relationship from the inside out. So if you want to tackle this, and if you want a clear roadmap on how to tackle this whole neediness topic, both on what society says is needy, but also the independent, distant person neediness, then this video right here is exactly for that. I made this exactly for this situation. So go watch that right now. I'll see you over there. Have a great day.